Today, our guest is Aicha Bascaro. She will take us on her journey as she rose up the ladder in franchising to become a best-selling author and CEO of her own American Franchise Academy. Lots of valuable information on what it takes to be a franchisee. So let's get to it. Welcome to the Franchise Coach Podcast.
Thank you, William. So happy to be here.
Aicha, you have done so much in your young life, best-selling author, Franchise Fix, really a power in the franchise industry when it comes to training, when it comes to educating franchisees. What got you here? Where did this start?
Funny that you asked that. Way back when I was very young, I got a college degree in merchandising and design, and I opened a little boutique, or actually acquired a ongoing business, thinking now I made it, I'm a business owner. And literally within a year, I failed miserably because going to college doesn't give you the knowledge that you need to run a business successfully. And so I failed, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do to pay my bills literally the next month. And a pizza delivery driver drove right in front of me. And I thought, you know what? That must be a great job. You're driving around in your car. You're listening to music. Everybody's happy to see you. You know what? No stress. And I went and got a job at a Domino's pizza and started delivering pizzas. It was a temporary job in my mind while I figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And it became a love affair. I never left franchising. And that was the beginning of my journey in the franchise industry.
And you went from then on to running your own stores, no?
Yeah. So what happened was, franchising is an amazing world because they give you education. You know, the franchisor gives you education to learn how to do, and run the business, especially when you were in a corporate store. So I was lucky enough that I was in a corporate store and they were giving me all of the training that I needed way back when. And so I went from being a pizza delivery driver to an assistant manager to a unit manager. I went from the lowest volume store in Dallas, Texas, where I started, to the highest volume store in Dallas, and eventually district manager. And then at that point, I decided to join international. Somebody said, "Hey, Aicha, you speak a second language. You have a passport. Domino's is growing in international. You should go out there and travel the world." And sure enough, I did that. And I joined the organization, the international division. And for the next 10 years, I lived in 14 countries. I helped open the first Domino's in Spain, the first Domino's in Dominican, the first one in Argentina. It was just an amazing. Eventually, I went back to the US, run company ops. I had over 60 restaurants in 3 states for a few years. And my last job with Domino's, over my 20-year history there, my last job, I actually run a distribution center. I don't know if you know this, but Domino's has their own distribution supply chain. And I was trained to run a distribution center that serviced over 250 units in the Southeast. And so I did that until I decided to leave the brand. Then I did 5 years with Popeyes, the Popeyes brand. Then I went to work with Olive Garden, Darden restaurants in Georgia and Alabama. And my last job in the corporate world was actually running a brand called Pretzel Maker. I did that for a little while, and then I left the corporate world, and that's where I ended up here at the Academy.
So you basically had touched every aspect of the franchise business, especially the food sector. And I think if I recall right, that's where we first met, back in Dominican Republic, when you were opening up Domino's for Luis and Fanny.
Luis Rodriguez, that's right. I was there, yeah.
Yes. And so this led you to decide, okay, I'm going to educate future franchisees in what they need to do to be successful, basically.
Well, you know what happened was I decided to take a sabbatical because I have been in the corporate world at that point for over 25 years, and my kids were going into high school. So I am married, I have kids, and decided to take a sabbatical. My husband said, take a break. And so I wanted to help, just be there for my kids as the twins as they were going into high school. And people started to find out that I was not working anywhere. So I started getting job offers and recruiters calling me. But I got a lot of calls from franchisees that I met in my career, in the brands that I worked for. And the questions they were asking me were not about how to make the best pizza or the greatest chicken or the best pretzel, but they were asking me about the management side. Like how do you manage a multi-unit organization? Like how do you inspire people? How do you read a profit and loss statement? How do you manage a multi-unit organization? So it was really the managerial side of that. And then I realized that there was a lot of need in that, because franchisors do a great job about giving the training, the resources, and the materials to be able to duplicate the brand. But when it comes to the management side, the business acumen, they can't, for two reasons. Number one is because of joint employer.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's the big problem in the industry right now. And there's only so much that they can provide the franchisees, let alone the employees. And the second one is still money and resources. I mean, a lot of franchisors are tight in money and resources, especially the emerging ones, right? And so they don't have the bandwidth nor the resources. And of course, joint employer prevents them from being able to get into how to become a business manager of a franchise. And so little by little, I became the accidental consultant. Didn't even know how to be a consultant, to be the truth. I always been in the corporate side, running regions and running the business. And so I became the accidental consultant. And one thing led to the other. And then I created a program, and then the program became a school, and then a class. And now we have instructors and tests and homeworks. And, like we're literally the college, a college for franchising focused on franchisee success. So we are here every day executing training programs for franchisees to help them go multi-unit, so that they go from a one-unit job to a multi-unit enterprise, and then helping train their leaders so that they can manage the business and do the best job possible so that they can be profitable and successful. And so that's what we do every day now.
Well, as our our business coaches, one of the things that we do with business coaching is our coaches go into a small or medium sized enterprise, and a lot of them are franchisees, by the way, and they teach them how to not only how to work the numbers to their advantage, and how to what cuts in and what goes out, but also teach them how to employ best use of their time, so they can also have family time, so they don't have to be a slave to the actual location. And a big part of your book has to do with knowing your numbers, mastering your sales, control, financial controls. It's almost like, a CFO's guide to running a franchise operation.
Yes, and we, in my book and in our programs, we really go to the nitty gritty detail of the tactical, practical, or what that looks like every day in a franchise organization. And we actually go so deep that I guess the devil's in the details, right? Like when we say, yeah, you need to create an onboarding program that at the end of the day, when the employee goes home and their mother, father, boyfriend, girlfriend asks them, how was your first day? You want the answer to be, it was amazing. I'm so glad I joined this franchise program or class. This franchise business. So we actually go into not only this is the outcome that you want, but how do you do that? And we teach them the step-by-step process of how to create an onboarding program, what works for your organization, how to create that amazing experience for the employees. So we go deep. And tactical practical is what we say, right? No fluff. We are the no-fluff zone. And we help these franchisees truly understand that, the day-to-day of running the business. Mm-hmm.
And when now you're talking about having instructors, now you have a structure, an actual, basically you certify people, I'm sure, to some sort.
Yep.
Who's your idea? What's your client? Who are your clients actually? Franchisees?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% franchisee base. Funny enough, we have independent businesses that find those too, but our ideal client is a franchisee that either already is a multi-unit or a franchisee, or they sign an area agreement, or they have one and they're about to open their second. So if your goal is to have a successful multi-unit enterprise, then you are the ideal client we're looking for, the ideal person that we help. And so not only do we help you as a franchisee in our franchisee mastermind program, but also as you grow, and you want to train your unit managers on how to lead your unit successfully the way that you did or better, then we have training programs for them. And as you go multi-unit and you hire that district manager that will give you the freedom so that you can delegate operations to them, we train them on how to do their district manager job the best way, most effective way possible. And the goal is to give everybody the tools, the knowledge, the resources to do their job well as have, work-life harmony. I mean, I think we
Yeah.
all deserve to have a great quality of life. And sometimes we don't achieve that because you mentioned time management is huge, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
also being able to provide our employees, our leaders with the knowledge and the ability they need so that they can run the business successfully is so critical. And a lot of franchisees are not trainers. They
No.
don't know how to train. They don't have the time to train. They don't want to train. And many of them don't even know what to train. And so that's where we step in and help in that one through our programs, and very structured. We're really look at us as a college in the franchise industry. Hence what we call the American Franchise Academy, with very best in class structured programs that you will know if somebody graduates and gets certified by us, you will know that they know their job.
Well, you know something. I guess the franchisors really love you, no, because you're setting up the franchisees for success and not just to barely make it day to day.
100%. And it's funny because we don't really try to reach franchisors. I mean, our commitment is franchisees. So we actually just franchisees find us when they Google questions. Usually we have the answers. And so we have a very good presence online. So franchisees find us, or we, look for them. And so as they experience our programs and our support, obviously they start seeing success, and then they tell their franchisors about us. And so that's how we get, franchisors calling us like, who are you and what do you do? and how come my franchisee is doing so well, right? And
Yeah.
so once they find out about us, yeah, they realize that we are franchisee advocates, but franchisor supporters, because without the franchisors, franchisees wouldn't have the opportunity to have a successful brand. People ask, when franchisees, what do you actually get? And we tell them that what they're getting is a proven brand that a franchisor founder spent a lot of time, money, and resources in creating a product or a service that customers were willing to give them money in exchange for that product or service. They created a service process that created a positive experience for the customer so that they were able, again, wanting to buy that product or service. An image that is either recognizable or at least very well designed. I mean, just the cost of designing the image and the branding and the logo and the name is a lot of money and time that these men and women have put in there. And then on top of that, the regional national marketing. Yes, you pay for it through royalties and marketing fees, but if you were to do it, the chances of success go very, are shrink a lot. And so being able to access that, what we call the brand systems, is amazing. Now, what you're not getting from the franchisor is a business degree in franchise management, right? If they would give you a business degree in franchise management, they had to charge you a heck of a lot more money
Yeah.
in exchange for that. And obviously, that's not the case. And so we provide you that degree on franchise management. We make sure that you are able to understand your business to such a deep level that not only allows you to better manage your business, but it gives you a higher level of confidence.
Yeah.
It is not strange, William, to have, our clients join our mastermind, and just through the knowledge that they get, the confidence expands, and now they're like dying to get more units open. They're acquiring other units. They're growing because now they know how to do it.
Mhm.
They know that they know that if they do X, they will get Y. And that's one of the things why franchisees, don't grow into multi-unit, is because of they lack the confidence, and they lack the confidence because they don't have the knowledge. And so that's kind of what we provide.
In dealing with franchisees of all kinds of places, what do you feel if you were to just design an ideal customer profile? What do you feel would take someone, two or three qualities that someone would need to be successful in running their franchise?
Okay, well, great question. First of all, you need to care about your people. You have to be someone that truly cares about your people, their future, their growth, that you have the patience and the love for them to do the right things. If you do care about your people, you're going to make the right decisions, and that will make everything else easier, by the way. I mean, we have turned down customers or potential clients that through the interview process we have identified that they didn't really care about the people, that if it's only about the money, no matter what I teach them, they're going to struggle because it all starts with the people. So that would be the first one. Second one, you have to be coachable. We have people that have given us money and they register to the program, but they don't do anything with it. Well, that won't do you any good. You have to be coachable, and you have to be hungry for learning and understanding that you don't know everything and that we can help, right? And so just giving money, throwing money at the problem is not going to be the answer. You have to be willing to learn, to participate, and to implement. Because really the what is not that. It's really simple. Like, really, how do you manage your labor costs? Well, you have sales projections, do good profiles, hire the right like there's this 12 steps to have good labor cost.
Mhm.
That's simple. What's challenging is the implementation of this and the follow-up of it, right? And you have to be willing to have the courage and the strength and the consistency of doing it day in and day out. And so we will provide you the what and the how and the why and the tools and the templates and everything, but then you need to be willing to execute. So you want to be able to love your people. You want to be able to be hungry for knowledge, and you want to be able to have the willingness to execute and follow up so that you actually reap the results and the rewards of the work that you've done.
And you made it very clear, because several chapters in your book talk about leadership, talk about culture, talk about having the right people in the boat. This is one of my favorites. And take care of your people. And it goes back to that.
100%. I will tell you that if you are someone that cares about your people, takes care of their people, they will take care of you. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You got to give them the knowledge. You have to be able to be the leader and be the strength of the organization and create set the pace for the group, right? And guide them on what you expect and reward them and recognize it when they do it. But if you are a great leader that inspires others, they will follow, and they will go out of their way to do well for you. It's what I call, you have to be the type of leader that inspires others to give you the discretionary effort. When you get a job, you get paid X amount, and then you're going to do the effort based on what you're getting paid. But if you respect and admire and trust your leader, you're going to give a little extra, that discretionary extra effort that you're going to give because of how much you care about the people and the leaders in the organization. And as a leader, that's what you want. You don't want just the bare minimum. You want you want to be able to want the people to give you that additional discretionary effort. And the only way you're going to get that is if you're the type of leader that inspires others to do that. And if you get that and you understand what it takes and you actually do it, oh, William, everything else is easy. Literally everything else is easy.
Well, I'm dating myself here, but Lee Iacocca, when he took over the Chrysler Corporation and turned it around from bankruptcy into something great, was asked if what was his secret, and he says, "My people. You cannot build a great company without great people." And it's so. Additionally, I would assume that if for multi-unit growth, if someone wants to grow several units, and you have actually with Aziz Hashim that did the Ford work on, I know that he's very successful multi-unit franchisee, and he grows and promotes from within. So every time the people are ready, or one of his team members is ready to grow, that makes it easier for him to acquire additional locations and additional units.
Yeah, the top three challenges for growing a multi-unit organization starts with, number one is access to capital, right? But you can access capital. It's expensive, but you can access it. It's possible, especially if you have already one proven unit. Access to capital is not a problem. Number two is finding the right location. You need to have the ability, the skills, and reach out to the tools that exist nowadays that are amazing to find the right location. But the third one is having the leaders to run the units. Otherwise, you're stuck running them. And so definitely developing the leadership, the leaders and the leadership bench for you to prepare for growth is going to be critical for multi-unit. And I will tell you that is, it's a big one. And one of the reasons I always tell our clients that as you get bigger, things get much easier. And if you are multi-unit, you are able to be inspiring a lot more than if you were a single unit, because if you're a single unit franchisee, there's nothing you can promise the team members or the assistant managers in that location, because they're not going anywhere. There's no further opportunity. But if you're a multi-unit enterprise and you are growing, oh my gosh, then you can develop people so that whenever you're ready, they're ready to go. And so people will join you not just to get the paycheck, but also because now you can offer a career. Why did I go from a college graduate, failed business owner into a pizza delivery job? Why did I stay there? Well, because of the promise of the growth. Because I saw I could become an assistant manager and a manager. I saw when I was doing that, how many managers or assistant managers became managers, and they went from making, I don't know, $5 an hour to now making 40,000 a year when they took over a store. And then you can become a district man. So I saw that, and that's what made me stay. And I did have a very successful career, because it was possible in a multi-unit organization. So as you get bigger and you are able to be a great leader and provide those opportunities, it will be easier for you to retain your people if you are developing them the right way. If you have a career path strategy and a salary strategy, if you communicate that to your people and you actually give them the tools that they need in training to be able to get there, it becomes much easier. That's why once you get to like 15 locations, 20 locations, it's so easy after that. So easy. It's just the first ones. I call it the 2 to 5 hell. Because if you are between 2 and 5 units and you still don't have enough to get a district manager, that is very tough. So I always tell franchisees, you need to get to the first district manager area as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're risking burnout for yourself and the team and your family. Once you get to that first district manager area, then you can hire that district manager. They can run operations, and now you can focus on strategy and growth and go on vacation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And hey, do you feel that franchising is as successful today as when we first started 25, 30 years? I'm dating myself again, but do you feel it's just as popular business model?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Things that have changed is that before, if you go back and look, what are the legacy brands of today, were the emerging brands of the past, and most of them were in food service, right? I mean, I would think back then 75% of the larger, brands were food service, but that's not the truth today. Today, about 35% of brands are food service. All the other ones, which is majority, are either personal service, home services, education, health and wellness. I mean, home services I mentioned, right? It is an amazing variety and diversity of companies that now are franchising. And so definitely there is a lot more brands now and opportunities than there were before. And they're growing. I mean, I go to the IFA conference, and I just came back from the multi-unit conference, and the number of brands that are excited and growing is tremendous. We just have to be a little bit more careful about which ones we choose to make sure that they are truly either a proven brand or a proven model that will definitely, solve the brand systems problem so that you can truly focus on the business systems and make money. So I would say the biggest difference, there's two differences. Number one is a lot more diversity in industries where you can franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And number two is that you really need to be more careful about which one to choose so that once you're in, you're going to be successful. And I think that's going to be very important for you. Mm-hmm.
I during a multi-unit conference, in one of the events, one of the main presentations, They mentioned that something like 400 and change, 460 new brands registered with their federal disclosure document last year. However, of those, half of them were from existing franchisors and existing brands that were just expanding to other areas and other fields. In other words, burger chains were growing into the pizza sector, the chicken sector, or whatever else, with their creating a new brand. So I guess there's still plenty of room for franchising.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I love the model because, what's the American dream? Is to own a business, right?
Yeah.
And being able to acquire one that has already a winning model, I think it's amazing, right? It does not guarantee success, but reduces your possibility of failure. I mean, I started in this whole thing with a failure myself, right? I thought I knew everything. Clearly not. And man, if I can go back, but definitely the opportunity is there, and it's becoming more and more creative. Sometimes I really get surprised at the things that people franchise nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. Look, services is a big sector. If you had thought about it, and if you had learned franchising back then, maybe you'd have gone into a branded fashion system where you could have had the help and not the loneliness of being by yourself and trying to pay the bills.
It's so funny you say that. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, I went to an IFA session, a conference, and in one of my tables happened to be a franchisor in the fashion industry. And we were talking about it. I said, "Oh my God!" I said, you're a boutique chain." I said, "You know what? That was my background. I actually have a degree in merchandising and design. I had a boutique, and we became friends. As a matter of fact, I was asked to do a presentation at their annual conference. I said, "Look, it's amazing how life brings you back to your origins sometimes, right?" And they were excited about having someone that is an expert in the franchise industry and management that they could bring in, but also had their background into their conference. So that was super fun.
Well, listen, it's been great catching up with you, and I really wish you the best. I hope we can continue to see each other, stumble into each other at the conferences here and there. So continue to learn from each other, and that's really wonderful. You have a great story, and I really, really wish you luck with the academy. And thank you for taking the time with us today and spending time in the program.
Thank you, William. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share my message out there, and being able to let people know how franchising is still a great way for you to be able to have your own business. And while the franchisor does not give you everything you need to be successful, it gives you and solves a very big part of a business, which is the brand. And if you need the business acumen, if you never run a small business in the past and you need help to develop yourself or your teams, think of us at the American Franchise Academy. We're here to help you achieve that dream and keep it forever.
Yeah. Thank you, Aicha. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today, and hope you have gained some valuable insights into the world of franchising. My name is William Lesante, and I would like to invite you to the next episode of the Franchise Coach podcast. Please make sure to like and subscribe and share with your network. Also, click the link below to learn more about franchising with Action Coach. Thank you.